And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every single Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and on Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day simply by clicking on that icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com, and you can call into my show if you want to just comment or engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, in today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Today, my expert contributor is John Matthews with his Conservative Syndicate series, and my special guest is Sean Lefebvre talking about healthcare on his series, Geared for Wellness. But right now, I want you to know that at 4:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 89 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And I want you to know that's down from 95 degrees, and it's on its way to 63. And I can't hardly wait for that to happen. But right now, let's talk about the news. And gosh, I'll tell you, we got lots of news for you today. Starting right off with the prosecutor and the woman's autopsy revealed no evidence of homicide. Well, the autopsy of a woman who was found dead in a Texas jail revealed no injuries that would suggest that she died in a violent homicide, authorities said today. Waller County prosecutor Warren Depram said the autopsy showed that 28-year-old Sandra Bland had no defensive injuries on her hands that would typically indicate a struggle. Some lacerations or abrasions were found on her wrists. Those were consistent with a struggle while being handcuffed. The marks around Bland's neck were consistent with a suicide, he said. Bland was arrested in a traffic stop 3 days before she was found hanging in her jail on July the 13th. Her family and friends dispute the official finding that she killed herself. Texas Rangers and the FBI are investigating, and they should. There's kind of a lot of stuff there that doesn't really make a lot of sense. So, the fact that she should have been on a suicide watch, and even if not, we know that the jails are supposed to check on their inmates on a regular basis. And how she could be hanging in there for a long time without being noticed, I just don't get it. Well, how about this? And today, Trump visits the Mexico border and claims Hispanics love him. I'm not so sure. Ever sure of himself, Donald Trump paid a visit to the Mexico border today and predicted Hispanics would love him. They already do, because as president, he'd grab jobs back from overseas and give more opportunity to those who live in the United States legally. There's great danger with the illegals, the Republican presidential contender told reporters, but he claimed a great relationship with Hispanics, even as Latino leaders have come at him with blistering criticism for his painting Mexican immigrants as criminals. I'll take jobs back from China. I'll take jobs back from Japan, Trump said. The Hispanics are going to get those jobs, and they're going to love Trump. The in-and-out border visit came as Trump continued to dominate attention in the GOP presidential race to the growing exasperation of his rivals. Campaigning in Gorham, New Hampshire, Jeb Bush offered a distinctly different message in the immigration debate and spoke partly in Spanish. A Republican will never be elected president of the United States again unless we campaign like this, Bush said, gesturing with his arms. Unless we campaign openly, where we campaign in every nook and cranny of this country, where we go campaign in the Latino communities, fast-growing communities all across this country that will make a difference in who the next president is going to be. Trump, a businessman and reality TV host, set up a dramatic scene in advance of his own campaign trip, saying he was putting himself in great danger by coming to the border area across the volatile Mexican city of Nuevo Laredo. But he said, I have to do it. I have to do it. Well, you know what? Trump only has to do what he wants to do. Remember, the man is a billionaire, so he doesn't have to do anything he doesn't want to do. Well, in 1 hour ago, Turkey allows the United States to use key base in the strike against ISIS. Turkey has agreed to let United States military use of Key Air Base near the Syrian border to launch airstrikes against the Islamic State. Senior U.S. officials said today, giving a boost to the United States-led coalition while drawing Turkey deeper into the conflict. President Barack Obama and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan finalized the deal in a phone call yesterday, officials said, following months of U.S. appeals to Turkey and delicate negotiations over the use of Incirlik and other bases in the country. Frustrated by Obama's focus on fighting IS instead of Syrian President Bashar Assad, Turkey's government had resisted the move. But in recent days, a surge of Islamic State activity in Turkey has made the militant group an increasing source of concern. Well, I guess, whatever we can, whatever we can do, we should do, I guess. That's about the only thing you can say. And then how about this? Kerry calls talks of better Iran deal a fantasy. This came in just today. Countering Republican criticism, Secretary of State John Kerry declared today, it is fantasy, plain and simple, to claim that President Barack Obama failed to insist on enough restraints on Iran's nuclear program before agreeing to lift economic sanctions long in place. So, what's your plan? Totally go to war? He challenged lawmakers who want to torpedo the deal. Republicans were unpersuaded and said so at an officially contentious Senate Foreign Relations Committee, occasionally contentious Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearing that marked the opening of a new phase in the administration's drive to prevent Congress from undermining the accord. You guys have been bamboozled, said Senator Jim Risch, a Republican from Idaho, complaining that the agreement wouldn't permit natural or neutral testing at Iran's Parchin military complex to guard against cheating. Senator Bob Corker, a Republican from Tennessee, the panel's chairman, told Kerry moments after opening the hearing, not unlike a hotel guest that leaves only with a hotel bathrobe on his back, I believe you've been fleeced. He later sought to soften the criticism to avoid singling anyone out, saying, we've been fleeced. The deal, reached earlier this month, will take effect unless Congress blocks it. Republicans in control of the House and Senate hope to do that by passing legislation in September to prevent Obama from lifting sanctions that lawmakers put in place over several years. Obama, who met at the White House during the day with a group of House Democrats, has promised to veto any such bill that would lead to a vote to override his veto, and the administration is searching for 34 votes in the Senate or 146 in the House to assure a veto would stick. Well, you know what? And the fight goes on, is all you can say. Now, don't go away, because when we come back from these brief commercial messages, we're going to talk about the Oklahoma police find 5 family members stabbed to death. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? When we left, we were talking about the news. And you know what? We're going to talk about the news some more right now. Oklahoma police find 5 family members stabbed to death. Oklahoma police responding to a 911 call in which no one spoke found a gruesome scene at a suburban Tulsa home. 5 members of a family dead or dying from stabbing and a 6th wounded but alive near the front door. Broken Arrow Police Corporal Leon Calhoun said today that 2 teenage sons were apprehended and expected to be charged in the deaths of their parents, 3 siblings, and an attack on a 4th sibling. A 5th sibling, a 2-year-old girl, was found unharmed and transferred to state custody. It certainly is shocking. I'm shocked, neighbor Patricia Statham said. I feel so bad for everyone who walks into that house. You can see it in the faces of the officers when they come out. Calhoun identified the parents killed as David and April Beaver, ages 52 and 44. He identified one of the 2 suspects in the deaths of their 18-year-old son, Robert Beaver. The other suspect, a 16-year-old son, was not identified because of he's a juvenile. The 3 children found dead were boys ages 12 and 7 and a girl 5 years old. Calhoun said the 2 survivors were a 13-year-old girl who was injured and a 2-year-old girl. None of those names were released. At the scene, investigators stepped gingerly around pools of blood, their feet covered in help protect the evidence. Other officers erected black tarps and blue tarps to veil 2 bodies in the front yard as the sun rose today. A gust of wind blew down one section of the makeshift wall, revealing a bloody white sheet. I've been here 19 years, and I don't know if we've had more than 3 homicides in a year, said Broken Arrow Police Corporal Leon Calhoun, the department spokesman. This is the worst single criminal event in Broken Arrow history. You know, what a shame. What is going on in this country? It's just horrific what's going on in this country. It's time that I don't want a police state, but I certainly want a state of peacefulness. We need to do something. How about this? Bombs kill 53 as Nigerian leader says the United States hampering the fight. And here's the thing. Bomb blasts blamed on Boko Haram killed 29 people in Nigeria and 24 in Cameroon, officials said today, after Nigeria's new president warned that the U.S. refusal to sell his country strategic weapons is aiding and abetting the Islamic extremist group. Nigeria's National Emergency Management Agency called today for urgent blood donations to treat 105 wounded people, according to spokesman Sani Dati. He said at least 29 bodies have been recovered at 2 bustling bus stations in northeastern Gombe, a town, the latest targets in a campaign that has spilled across Nigeria's borders. In neighboring Cameroon, 2 suicide bombers yesterday killed at least 22 people at a marketplace near the border, officials said, and toll is likely to rise among the 50 injured, that they said. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari returned home today to the capital Abuja from a 4-day visit to the United States, where he was warmly received by President Barack Obama, but failed to get all that he wanted. You know what? At some point, I understand they need help, and I understand that if we can, we should help them. But we've got a lot of people in our own country that need help, and we've got problems now with domestic terrorism that is really going to be a problem. I think we need to help where we can, and some people have to start by helping themselves. I don't know what you think. Let me know. Did you know that this came in an hour ago? Exercise is good for the brain, even for those with Alzheimer's. Exercise may do more than keep a healthy brain fit. New research suggests working up a good sweat may also offer some help once memory starts to slide and even improve life for people with Alzheimer's. The effects were modest, but a series of studies reported today found vigorous workouts by people with mild memory impairment decreased levels of a warped protein linked to risk of later Alzheimer's and improved quality of life for people who already were in early stages of the disease. Regular aerobic exercise could be a fountain of youth for the brain, said cognitive neuroscientist Laura Baker of Wake Forest School of Medicine in North Carolina, who reported some of the research at the Alzheimer's Association International Conference. Doctors have long advised that people keep active as they get older. Exercise is good for the heart, which is in turn good for the brain. Lots of research shows physical activity can improve cognition in healthy older people, potentially lowering their risk of developing dementia. With no medications yet available that can slow Alzheimer's creeping brain destruction, the new findings point to lifestyle changes that might make a difference after memory impairment begins as well. The caveat? Check with a doctor to determine what's safe for a person's overall medical condition, especially if they already have Alzheimer's. Don't go out and overdo it. Wouldn't be a good deal, folks. Well, scientists find the closest thing yet to Earth-Sun twin system. Here it is. Scientists have identified a close cousin to Earth's that's orbiting a sun-like star and might harbor life. It is the closest thing that we have to another place that somebody else might call home, said John Jenkins from NASA's Ames Research Center in California. The researchers announced their discovery today based on observations from NASA's Kepler Space Telescope. The older, bigger cousin to Earth is called Kepler 452b. What makes this planet remarkable is that it orbits its star at about the same distance that Earth orbits the Sun. What's more, its home star looks to be similar to our Sun. Based on what scientists know today, Jenkins noted it's the nearest thing to another Earth-Sun twin system. Today, the Earth is a little less lonely because there's a new kid on the block, Jenkins said during a news conference. He led the team that discovered Kepler 452b. The last Kepler discovery that had scientists gushing over just over a year ago, that close to Earth-sized planet Kepler 186f also was in the habitable zone of its star, but that faint dwarf star was unlike our sun. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. And this is a great one. It's lien rights were lost during a temporary lapse. And I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it?
a professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. Sends chills up and down my spine, even though it's 90 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire. Sends the hair up on the back of my neck. Unfortunately, that's the only place I can grow hair these days. But you know what? Let's get right to it. Let's talk about the IRS loses. In this case, lien rights are lost during a temporary lapse. Now, here's the case. The IRS placed a lien on investment real estate owned by a person who owed back taxes. Now, later, after negotiations over the tax bill, the IRS released the lien. Now, a friend of the property owner then made a loan to him of $117,000 that was secured by the real estate, believing that the tax claim had been settled. But soon after, the IRS revoked its release of the lien and refiled it at the courthouse. The lender sought a court ruling that her lien received priority. The IRS answered that it had filed its lien first. They went to court for some justice, and this is what the judge actually had to say about it. The lender obtained her secured interest in the property with no notice of the tax lien because it had been released at the time. So her lien gets the priority. And that's the way it's supposed to be. You got to watch the IRS. You know, just because they say you can't do something or just because they do something doesn't mean they've got the right to do what they're doing. You got to hold them to the task. Don't let them get away with the things that you know that they shouldn't be getting away with. How about this? The IRS loses. Tax papers remain confidential even after being shown to an outside auditor. Now, this is important, so you want to listen to this thing. While examining a company's taxes, the IRS issued a summons to the company's outside accountants who had audited it, demanding that they give over tax work papers of the companies that they held. The company argued that the work papers were privileged against the IRS because they were prepared with its lawyers in anticipation of litigation against the IRS. The IRS replied that confidentiality for the papers was lost when they were provided to the outside accountants. So they went to court for some justice, and this is what the judge said. The papers were given to the accountants under a written confidentiality agreement, so they remained privileged against the IRS. Now, you know what? The IRS just keeps trying. As you can guess, I'm no big lover of the IRS. You just got to watch them and always, always, always watch them. Now, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS wants to do stuff. Well, that's what we're talking about right now when we talk about inside the IRS. Now, these aren't court cases. These are positions that the IRS has taken in the past that you can actually use against them. So keep that in mind when you're dealing with this. Now, first up, how about this? What small business owners are going to jail for these days. Given that any thought? Well, think about this. Filing false payroll tax returns indicating smaller salaries. Now, restaurant owners in particular seem to be a good target for IRS investigators. These businesses tend to have at least some employees who are on the books for a portion of their salaries, with the balance of their compensation being paid in cash. Now, there's a defense here. Actually, there's not much of a defense here that can be actually mounted against the IRS that can be put together. You know, if they can put together 5 or 6 employees who will testify that they were paid in cash, even though the employees will admit that they did not report the cash on their own income tax returns, here's your best bet. Clean up your act right now, because the payroll taxes saved by paying employees with cash is not worth the legal expenses and the potential time away from home, prison, if you get caught. You don't want that to happen. That is for doggone sure, guaranteed. How about this? What happens if you're arrested by the IRS? Ever give that any thought? You know, it's not just the police. The IRS are federal agents. You know, many times a grand jury will be presented with the aspects of a case as portrayed by the government attorney. An indictment will be issued, and an arrest warrant will be executed. IRS special agents will show up at your home or your place of business and inform you that you are under arrest. You'll then be handcuffed and transported to a federal district courthouse for processing, fingerprinting, and mugshot, and a bail hearing. The entire process takes about a day, and if you have no prior criminal convictions, bail will be set, and you'll probably be able to go home that night. Hopefully it's not a Friday, or you're going to be spending the weekend. Believe me. In more complicated cases, though, you might have to stay overnight in jail until a bail package can be negotiated with an assistant U.S. attorney assigned to your case. So be careful. Here's the thing. During the car ride to the courthouse, the special agents are going to encourage you to make incriminating statements. Now, you need to be polite, but tell them that you don't want to talk to them until you have met with your attorney. And that is well, if you don't remember anything else I tell you, always, always, always remember that. You don't want to talk to any federal agent. Matter of fact, you don't want to talk to any law enforcement agent without having your attorney present. Don't think that you're so smart you're going to outsmart them. They do this for a living. They walk, talk, and breathe how they can talk to people and get them to incriminate themselves. You know, what you might think is the most innocent thing in the world could be exactly what locks the gate behind you. So be really, really careful. Now, do not go away. He is waiting in the wings, our own Sean Lefebvre. We'll be right back with Sean right after these brief messages. And you know what? I think we're still talking about mercury poisoning. I'm not sure. It'll either be that or it'll be current events or we'll talk about sex. We'll talk about something as soon as Sean gets back in here, so don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:32 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 89 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, he's waiting in the wings. He's biting the dust. He can't wait to start talking. He's got interesting things for us. He's probably going to talk about his sex life. So hang on here. Let's bring him in here.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
Hey, Sean, I can't believe it. So this is day 2 this week with you, right?
Day 2 of our 3-day series this week. Kind of awesome. I like it.
Well, you know what? I think it's terrific, and I love talking to you 3 days a week. And so listen. So I was going to ask you: do you know the difference between good sex and a good salad?
I'm
never going to lunch with you, buddy.
I'm
never going to lunch with you. Forget about it.
Yeah, I figured something like that was coming. Yeah, so now I do know the difference. One I can get at lunch with you, the other one I can get at lunch with someone else.
Yes.
Okay, I got it. I know the difference. Actually, what we're going to talk about today, but we can go anywhere you want. You know me. It actually is very, very is linked to sex, actually, in the sense that Mercury has a huge effect on what they call the HPA axis.
Well, isn't that what they mean when they say Mercury is rising?
Yeah, mercury is rising, and when there's too much mercury, there is no rising, because mercury actually affects your testosterone levels, and it drops your testosterone. It prevents your gonads from producing the testosterone that it needs. And,
yeah, but I'm guessing if mercury is not rising and your testosterone levels are not rising, there's nothing else going to be rising either.
Exactly. That's exactly. There's an inverse correlation between mercury rising and the kind of rising that you.
Are we really talking about this?
I don't know why we're talking. You brought it up. I'm straight laced out of the two of us.
Hey, before we get started, I wanted, there was a news item, and I don't know if you're familiar with it or not. It took place in Texas about this young lady who was supposedly committed suicide. She had a traffic stop, and the officer got belligerent and kind of overstepped his bounds, and she got belligerent and kind of overstepped her bounds. The officer grabbed her and handcuffed her, took her off to jail. 3 days later, she was found hung in her cell, saying that she committed suicide. Now, I have a little bit of experience, not so much with suicide, but with jails, because I used to be the chairman of the Adult Detention Advisory Committee for the County of San Bernardino. And generally, they have logs, and they check on the inmates about every half hour. And I'm kind of wondering how it was that they didn't discover her body hanging for a couple of days. Don't they even feed her, or what the heck's going on?
Yeah, that sounds a little fishy. She could have very well, but there's two things there. One, how do you not look into the status of a jailmate, inmate, for 3 days? Now that 3 days is like, did she get to eat? Jesus, what did they do to her? How do you not know what someone's doing for 3 days while they're in jail? The other thing is, aren't jails supposed to be built in a way that you can't hang yourself? I thought that was kind of like.
Well, and most of the time, all the ones that I've seen are that way. I don't, and all they could do is, I suppose, take sheets or something like that and tie it to the top bars in the wall, on the exit. But even then, it would be a difficult thing to do with modern jails. The other thing is that I just don't understand this whole business. Why they would take her to jail for a traffic infraction?
Yeah, I don't know. I did not hear about this one. That's a deal. There's so many weird, crazy things going on right now in our world. It's just I don't know if it's just because we're so much more connected with the social media, and so we get to hear about this stuff more, or what the deal is. But it just seems like every day I hear about stuff that I go, I don't remember. I definitely don't remember stuff like this happening when I was a teenager, or even in my 20s.
I was just going to say that. I how old are you, Sean?
46.
26.
Yeah, 26 exactly. No, 46.
Okay, 46. So here's the deal. And I'm sure you too. When I was raised, it was a much more peaceful environment, a much more peaceful world. You know what? You could leave your keys in the car and it wouldn't get stolen. You didn't lock the doors of your home. You went for walks in the evening and the morning and whenever you did it. And you weren't afraid for your life. And when you were in school, if you had some kind of an altercation with somebody, a disagreement with them, you went out back and you beat each other to a pulp, and nobody wanted to kill the other guy. Today, it's a whole different world.
Yeah, we didn't have people bringing guns into school, and we didn't have weapons. People just having weapons in general. In the way the teachers were allowed to kind of give you some discipline.
I went to a Catholic high school, all boys high school. We were taught by priests and brothers, and corporal punishment was the only kind of punishment.
Oh yeah. I remember getting spankings from teachers and babysitters and stuff when I was a kid. I'm sure I did nothing wrong. I probably didn't deserve them, of course, because I'm such a sweet guy. But I do remember getting those, not from just my parents.
Well, you know what? If you threaten a kid today, they're so smart. They tell you right to your face they're going to call Child Protective Services.
Yeah, everybody's got a lawyer in their back pocket nowadays. Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, so let's back to sex. I want to talk about sex. It's been so long. It's been so long since I've had sex. I forget who gets tied up.
Speaking of high school. What about sex?
Hello.
Awesome stuff. I know that much. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm waiting for you to lead into something.
Oh, I got nothing to lead into when it comes to I can go to Mercury, but sex, I don't know, man. It's awesome stuff. I can tell you this much since we're on. Well, this is kind of our Gear for Wellness Health show.
Mm-hmm.
I have had several patients, male and female, and I tell you, in this profession, you deal mostly with women, and I can tell you a lot of them have come in, and I've heard time and time and time again that I have no sex drive. My sex drive is gone. I'm not interested in sex. I used to love it. I don't like it anymore. And I want to get that back. And my husband wants me to get that back, or my wife wants to. So maybe usually it's not the wife wants me to get it back, it's my husband wants me to get it back. But that's actually it's a real thing, and it's an interesting dynamic going on there. That people think that as you get older, you lose your sex drive, and that's not really the case. Does it slow down? You maybe not as crazy as you were when you were in your 20s. I suppose that's probably true. But to say that you've lost it, or just because of age, it's not really a true indicator of what's going on in your body. It's usually if you're getting older and things aren't working the way they are. I heard someone say something the other day that the two biggest drugs that we're spending money on are Viagra and depression, and so we have all these old people hooked on these things, and they're going to be in the old folks' home, and they're going to be happy and horny, and they're not going to know why. But that was the third part of it. But there was almost no research or treatments for Alzheimer's. So we're going to have all these
that's interesting you would bring that up. In today's news, they were talking about older people and with the beginning of Alzheimer's and those that didn't have Alzheimer's and the necessity of exercise. And there's a new study that was actually published today that said exercise actually made older people more coherent, made them think better and faster on their feet, and actually delayed the progression of Alzheimer's as if they were exercising. And when they said exercising, it could be just a walk, just walking around or any kind of cardiovascular exercise, because it not only helped the body, and it did help the body, but it helped the brain as well, because it pumped blood in through there.
Right, and the reason why, obviously, you're getting blood flow, and that's important. Any activity, that exercise is the key to to just about everything going on in our world. I say diet is more important than exercise, but exercise is important, and the reason why it helps Alzheimer's is they're now figuring out that dementia, Alzheimer's, is a form of diabetes. It's a form of diabetes that affects the brain. And so exercise helps with people who are diabetic because it helps your body to burn sugar for energy while you're exercising, but then it helps you in the long run to burn fat. As long as it's the right type of exercise, it helps you burn fat while you're relaxing so that your body doesn't need as much sugar. But while you're exercising, you're burning sugar, and so you're not having these blood sugar issues.
Okay, so let me stop you for a second because this is an area that I'm not really very conversant in, and so let's talk about that for just a minute. So when you're exercising and you're burning calories, in order to burn calories, is sugar a catalyst to the burning of these calories, the stored fat and stuff?
Yeah, so here's kind of how it works, and this is actually kind of a cool topic. We'll get on this one here, and maybe we'll save Mercury for the next segment, or we'll save it for tomorrow. I've got a whole bunch of notes here and some cool. We only
got 4 minutes left on this segment anyway.
Okay, four minutes is perfect for what I'm about to tell you. Matter of fact, 4 minutes is absolutely perfect. So exercise at different levels will burn energy in a different way. If you exercise at a low level, like a person who runs like really slow, let's say, I don't want to say really slow because it depends on your age and your health level, but a person who's running at a slower pace relatively to how they could be, say, sprinting, they might just actually be burning fat for energy while they're running. If you look at these guys who run these ultra marathons, they'll run like 100 miles kind of thing, or something crazy. Mm-hmm. What they do is they run at a slower pace. Because when you run at a slower pace, you're keeping your heart rate down to, like, say, below 70% of your max heart rate. When you keep it down that low, your body's able to burn fat, and so you don't deplete your sugar stores. And even a little bit of fat, it doesn't take a lot of fat to keep you going for, an entire day or whatever. So at a low rate, you're at a lower heart rate, you're going to be burning fat for energy. Now, what happens when you do, let's say you run at, it could be any kind of exercise, but I'm going to say sprinting just because people can visualize that.
Well, are you including, well, not so much sprinting, but when you're saying the slow running or the jogging, slow jog kind of thing, would it be the same thing for like a power walk where you're really walking a good...
Yeah, it could be a power walk. It could be a nice, easy bike ride. It could be working out with moderate weights, doing multiple reps. It could be swimming. It could be any activity that's going to keep your heart rate up at a moderate level, 60, 70% of your max heart rate, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me stop you there. And I know that I'm creating a real problem here because you only had 4 minutes and we're going to go by it. So how do you determine what your maximum heart rate is?
Okay, so determine your maximum heart rate. Now, this is an average. To determine your maximum heart rate, you take 220 and subtract your age. And so let's just use a 40-year-old person to make it easy. Someone who's 40, 220 minus 40 is 180. So 180 is their supposed max heart rate. That's if they just went full out as hard as they could. The highest they're going to get their heart rate up to is about 180.
Okay, so in my case, I'm 70. My maximum heart rate would be about 150.
About 150. So if you want to keep your heart rate at,
let's say that I keep it at 115 while I'm walking.
So keep it at about 115 while you're walking, and that's a nice moderate heart rate for you. It's not screaming. It's not up there at 130, 135, 140, but to where you feel like your chest is pounding. But it's a nice heart rate that's going, and you're burning fat for energy. And in at first blush, that sounds like a really great way to exercise because we all go, well, gee, we want to burn fat. That's good to burn. But the problem with that is it actually will tend to increase your fat stores in the long run because your body knows that it needs that fat for energy. And especially if you have issues with insulin and leptin and those things, you're definitely going to burn. And insulin is the hormone that tells your body to burn sugar. Leptin is the hormone that tells your body to burn fat. And so if those aren't regulated properly in your body, you're definitely going to store fat in the long run if you're working at a low to moderate tempo, keeping your heart rate at 60, 70% of your max heart rate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the flip side of that, if I go out and I run a sprint, this could be running a sprint, like physically running, or it could be, for some people, let's say it's an elderly person who has been fairly inactive, they could literally take cans of soup and do curls with them, at a fairly rapid pace and get their heart rate up to 80 or 90% of their max heart rate. And so 80 to 90% of your max heart rate, when you get up around that range, what happens is you start burning sugar for energy instead of fat. And that creates, and if you can do that in a certain method, and I'm going to talk about that method when we come back from this break, what it does is it actually creates in the body the ability to burn fat at rest when you're doing nothing for the next 36 hours, give or take. So we're going to talk about that as soon as we come back from this commercial break.
Okay, we're talking to our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner. We're talking about your heart rate. We're talking about exercise. We're talking about if you only do moderate exercise, you're going to get fat. And if we're talking about regular exercise, you can kind of have a healthier body and a healthier brain. We'll talk about all of that stuff when we come back with our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And Let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Hey, Sean, you've got the microphone.
All right. So running sprints or doing some sort of activity, it could be rowing on the rowing machine. It could be even swimming or bicycling, whatever. But I got to tell you this. The highest I ever had my heart rate up, and when I tell you this, your max heart rate is really an estimate. It depends on your fitness level and so on, and a lot of other things. But we're going to go into a fun story. We're never going to get on Mercury today now because I'm getting sidetracked. But I was years ago. I was in my late 20s, and I love to ride bicycle, right? And I'm at this party. And I'm talking to this guy. I'm standing in the kitchen talking to this guy, and I realize in the course of the conversation, this guy's blind, right? He can't see anything. He's not just partially blind; he's totally blind. And so we're still talking away, and he asked me, what do you like to do? And I said, this, man. I said, I love to ride bicycle. He said, oh man. He said, I love to ride bike. We should go riding sometime. And it's probably a good thing that he was blind because the expression on my face probably said, what the. Excuse me, I'm what? But he paused for a little bit and to see how I was going to react. And he said, well, I've got a tandem bike that my wife and I ride together sometimes, but we don't get to ride too much because I'd love to have someone who can cap in the front, so the person on the front of the tandem bike is the captain, the person on the back is the stoker. And so I said, yeah, sure. The first time I ever rode a tandem bike, and I tell you what, it was an absolute blast. I got totally hooked on it. But we rode all over the place, and we were doing a sprint one time. And he said, man, he goes, and you knew the area. It was amazing. Everywhere we went, he said, oh, we're going to be coming up on such and such a street, make a right turn here. And sure enough, there it was. And so we're coming up on this road. He goes, we're going to hit a long downhill run. He goes, let's do a sprint, man. It'll be a lot of fun. I said, all right, man, I love to sprint. And we did a sprint. Now, I used to wear a heart rate monitor whenever I exercised, no matter what kind of exercise I was doing. And the heart rate monitor displayed on the bicycle handlebars. I was 28, which means my max heart rate should have been 192. I got my heart rate up to 202 beats a minute.
What are you looking for, a heart attack? What the hell's the matter with you?
Yeah, I probably could have, but I thought it was so cool. I tell you what, and I've never felt like my. I could feel it was like someone was pounding, like someone kicking me in the chest repeatedly. My heart was beating so hard and so fast. It was really cool. So you can actually go way above. You can actually go above your max heart rate. I guess there's technically no way to go above your max heart rate, but the average of what you would use for the calculation may not be 100% accurate. But anyway, so I don't know. I was talking about max heart rate, how it is an average. So you can do these sprints. It can be a bicycle sprint. It can be any type of exercise where you can get your heart rate up to about 85, give or take 80 to 90% of your max heart rate, right? And it's really cool. Here's how this works.
Okay, now wait a minute. Before you go to how it works.
Yeah.
Now, so are you saying that you need to you're saying you need to go as much as you can to a maximum heart rate, but at how long do you need to maintain that to derive any benefit from it?
That's exactly where I was going with that.
Oh, well, then don't let me interrupt you. For Pete's sake, keep talking.
Why are you interrupting with smart questions like that?
Okay.
So you get your heart rate up to max heart rate, or 80 to 90% of your max heart rate, and you do that for, in the beginning, you might want to only, because it's tough to do, you might want to only do it for 30 seconds at a time. But you want to get up to the point where you can do it for a full minute, okay? And then what you do is you take a break, and it could be a minute and a half, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, depending on, you want your heart rate to come back down, not to your resting heart rate, but at least down to a normal level where you can talk and carry on a conversation without feeling like you're winded, right?
Yeah.
And then you repeat that process again. And you do that sprint or whatever it is you're doing again, and get that heart rate back up and keep it there for another, minute, okay? And you're going to do this 4 times. So you can literally get a full workout. Most people, a person who's in good shape can do this 1 minute on and about 2 minutes off. So 12 minutes it'll take to do this 4 times, maybe 15 minutes, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in a matter of literally, let's say you have a little bit longer rest, in a matter of 15 minutes you can have an entire workout done. Now, if you're looking for certain things like bodybuilding and, you want to build a certain type of physique, well, you're going to need something else besides just running these sprints. But if your goal is to burn fat, you want to lose weight, if you say, I just want to get back to where I have cardiovascular health and I want to burn fat and I want to lose weight and I'm going to trim up and get lean, this is by far the best exercise, because here's what happens. You get your body in that mode. Like I said, when you're up to 80 to 90% of your max heart rate, you're burning sugar. You're in full sugar burning mode at this point. Your body isn't even touching the fat stores that it's got available to it. And then you rest, and all of a sudden, bam, you hit it again. And then you rest, and you hit it again. And you rest, and you hit it a 4th time. And after that, it triggers your body to tell itself, okay, I have burned enough sugar. I got it. I know what we need now is we need sugar. We're burning sugar. We don't need to store fat. The fat we can get rid of it. We can burn that while we're just chilling and relaxing. So for the next approximately 36 hours, give or take, it's usually maybe a little bit more, your body at rest will burn fat as its main source of energy. And so now you're utilizing that leptin, that hormone leptin, to burn fat.
Okay, now that's fascinating. But let me ask you this, because obviously there are some, like myself, who really need to consult with a physician before they go on that kind of a deal. I'm an old son of a gun. So, I wouldn't want to take a chance of somebody finding me laying on the side of the street somewhere.
Yeah, sure. And that's, like I said, you obviously, that's a good, lawyer catchphrase for us to throw out. Always consult a physician before, attempting any new exercise plan or implementing any new exercise plan. And that's certainly a good idea. And, if you've got a physician you trust, go to them and talk to them.
I tell you I'm an old guy and that I would talk to a physician. I walk a power walk of 5 miles every day.
Yeah, I know. You're in good shape. So, and that's why you're in good shape, is because you're active. But like I said earlier, this activity of getting your heart rate up, I wouldn't tell, someone who's 80 years old and hasn't really exercised for 30 years to go out and run a sprint. I would tell them, get some weights and do curls, because it won't take much for them to get their heart rate up. You can get your heart rate up doing all kinds of things. I mean, I think, you were talking about sex earlier. I think when I was a teenager, I could get my heart rate up just by looking at magazines. But,
well, wait a minute. I need to know which magazine are we talking about? Are you talking about GQ, or are you talking about The Hustler?
No, I was talking about like Volkswagen and Hot Rod magazines, because I'm really big into cars. And I get excited about that stuff. So I don't know what kind of magazines you're looking at, Robert, but I just I had a really cool Volkswagen when I was in high school. So I know how to build an engine.
Yeah, and tear one down.
So it's different for everybody what it takes to get their heart rate level low. So if you're uncertain about your health level and what it would take, go find a personal trainer or a physician or someone who I don't know that you necessarily need to go to a medical doctor. It can be it can be any type of physician. It can be a nutritionist or a chiropractor or personal trainers are great. They're a lot cheaper than medical doctors, and they can teach you form and function and all that kind of thing that goes along with the movement you need to exercise. So there's a lot of places you can consult with, but this type of program, I just think it's cool because it's something that goes contrary to what people have been taught. They go, you got to go do cardio. You got to get on the bicycle for 30 minutes, or you got to go do Zumba, or whatever happened to Taibo anyway. Remember Taibo that was out like 20 years ago? That guy, Billy Bates. Yeah, whatever happened to that? I don't even know if that's still around. But, they had there's all these different kinds of, Richard Simmons, he's even still around. There's all kinds of things out there, and everyone thinks that, to get a good workout and to burn fat and to get lean, you got to work out an hour and a half at a time, and, 4 times a week, and, on and on. It kills me. People get in their car and they drive to the gym to go run on the treadmill. I'm like, especially here in California, but this form of exercise is something that is great for a person who's busy, who's traveling, who just doesn't have the time or doesn't want to spend the money. You can literally, as long as you have a pair of tennis shoes, if you want to rough it out, you can run barefoot. There's a lot of guys that do that too, but if you have a good pair of tennis shoes, that's all you need. If you've got a swimming pool that you have access to or whatever, it doesn't take a lot. If you've got a bike, it doesn't even have to be a nice bicycle. Just grab a bike and get on it and ride and just run some sprints. And, 15 minutes later, you're done with your workout. But it's just it's a cool thing because it helps repair those, because it burns up so much sugar. It helps repair those leptin receptors on the hypothalamus so your body can start utilizing fat for energy again, and it's really neat. There's another form that's called, you could Google it, that's called, if people want to Google it and learn more about it, it's called burst training. I've heard it called blast training as well, but the biggest term I've heard is burst training. And there's another one that's very similar, but I think you do it like, instead of 4 times, you do it like 6 or 10 times or something like that, and it's called Tabata, T-A-B-A-T-A, Tabata training. And I knew a guy that was a U.S. champion stair climbing racer, where they get in. Matter of fact, we have the U.S. Bank building here in Los Angeles, and he won that race. He was 40 years old or 41 years old, and he won the national championship. And what they do is they start in the parking lot and they run towards the door, and then they get in the stairwell and they run up the stairwell as fast as they can. And of course, the one who gets to the top first wins. And it's a brutal sport. He says you run the first few floors, then you walk several floors after that, and then you stagger, and then you crawl, and then you just drag yourself up like the second half of the building. He said it's one of the most brutal things he's ever done.
I'm crawling just thinking about it.
Yeah, and it's but and he'll run out. He'll go out. He'll run snowshoe marathons, and he'll run off road. He doesn't just like get on the pavement and run a marathon. It's always going to be weird with him. It's a dirt marathon or whatever kind of marathon he's running. It's always something crazy. But this guy, that's his one main form of training, is that Tabata training. And it's quick and easy to do, and it keeps him in shape. So, but I think that's bringing us to the end of our show, Robert.
Well, you know what? I can't hardly believe it. So we're going to have to try. And, so this is a whole show that we didn't talk about what you wanted to talk about. Tomorrow,
right?
I'm sorry?
This is a good topic. I actually wanted to talk about this topic a couple of weeks ago. So, gosh, we need to talk about birth training sometime. So I'm glad we fit it in. This is perfect. And we can talk about Mercury tomorrow or next week. And Mercury's not going anywhere. It'll be around.
Yep. Yeah, it's a big planet. It's a good deal. So listen, my friend, this is terrific. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. We'll try and bring up the subject Mercury. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Thanks, Robert.
All right, my friend. You have a great evening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
You just said it.
All right, now do not go away. When we come back, we're going to be with my good buddy John Matthews with his Conservative Syndicate Corner. You know what? Maybe we'll be a little different than everybody else, and we won't talk about Donald Trump. But, we'll talk about anything John wants to talk about. But Trump is getting more action than air is right now. So we'll be right back after these brief messages with my good buddy John Matthews. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:08 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 88 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 97 on its way to 63. I can't wait for the 63. But you know what? Waiting in the wings is my good buddy John Matthews. And John's got a show Monday through Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time called the Conservative Syndicate. And you don't want to miss this. Now, John covers just about everything in politics that you would want him to cover, and a lot of things maybe you don't want him to cover. But the one thing you need to do is to listen to my good friend John Matthews. He is always going to give you a different perspective. And if you can't convince him or even yourself that he's wrong, then it's probably because you're wrong. And that's what's going on. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get my good buddy John Matthews in here right now.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. John Matthews.
So anxious to have you here with me today. I missed you yesterday. You did an archive show, although I must admit it was really kind of nice. Instead of talking to you for an hour yesterday, I actually fixed myself a martini. And when I got all done drinking that, John, I was so calm and rested and relaxed. I didn't give a thought to Donald Trump at all.
I'll be honest with you. I quit thinking about Trump about a week ago.
You know what? I am so fed up, John. I don't care what station I turn in, what show I'm going to watch. I can't. It seems like I can't find anything but Trump. Man, you talk about all the publicity this guy's getting. It's just unbelievable, and not just radio and television, but newspapers. This is just crazy stuff. This is craziness.
Well, it's the narrative. It's the way this is probably. I think if people could figure out just this one thing about the media, they'd understand everything the media does and the purpose behind everything that they do. It's all about controlling the narrative, and Trump has given them a lot to work with. This one thing that you'll notice, as you said, everybody wants to talk about Trump. I am talking about Trump on my show, but from a different perspective. I'm not Trump himself, but basically everybody's reaction to him, one way or the other, which is what drives the narrative with the media. The issue here, in my opinion, is not whether Trump is conservative. Anybody with the IQ of seaweed knows he's not. It's the idea that this man has been able to take over control of what's being said about the GOP as a whole, and the GOP candidates have fallen right into the trap. We're not hearing from the candidates about their positions on anything. We're hearing about their feelings being hurt, and
it's a mudslinging contest out there.
It plays in perfect to what the media wants, and that is. The other side of it is that they've also taken their attention off of Hillary Clinton. You don't hear anything about Hillary Clinton right now. You're hearing very, very little about the important things, the Iran deal, which is a major. This thing is going to make Obamacare look like a stroke of genius.
Well, not only that, but now, John, just to stick with that Iran deal for just a moment, now that they have admitted that there are two side deals the AIEA entered into with Iran that they were trying to keep secret. I mean, it's here we go again, right?
Well, it is, and I hate to sound so egotistically smart about this kind of stuff, but I floated this out there 3-4 months ago. I said, the first thing you got to know, and we got to remember this about when you're dealing with Middle Eastern countries like Iran, is that nothing they're saying to you right now is truth anyways, because they believe that they can lie to you because you're an infidel. So you keep that thought in mind. But I did start floating the idea out here. I said, I guarantee you that somewhere down the line here, Iran is going to look for some reason to walk away from this deal. And now that I'm finding out that really what happened here, this is really the crux of what happened here. John Kerry acted as a liaison for United Nations. This deal was really drafted up by the United Nations, and Kerry was the point man. He was the guy that was put out there to float it and to try to get it passed. This isn't about a deal between the United States and Iran. This is a deal between the UN and Iran, and the United States was the appointed designated point person to go out there and try to make it work. So this all feeds into the big picture perspective of this is all about Obama's legacy. This is what he wants to leave. This is what he wants to be known for. And I've said this maybe the last 2 or 3 years. I would bet dollars to donuts that within a year after Obama's out of office, if he leaves office voluntarily, that he is going to be looking for a job at the UN. And I think this guy wants total world domination. He would function very well in the UN, which is a few people lecture and tell everybody else what the rules are going to be, and that's a perfect environment for a guy like this.
Hey, John, let me stop you. Let me stop you for a second, because I don't know the answer to this, and you may or may not either. But would it be possible for an ex-sitting president to represent the United States at the UN and be the president of the UN, even though he was not an ambassador to the United States?
Well, anything's possible in this environment, because these guys make up rules now as they go along. So anything that we've seen them do it with our own government. We've seen Obama just circumvent and go around and beat around the bush. I don't know why anybody's surprised that Congress doesn't know what's going on with Iran. They don't know what's going on with anything else. So everything is just done beforehand, and we get one of two options. Obama comes out and says, "This is what I've decided to do," and he strong arms Boehner, catches Boehner in a sober moment and says, "Hey, this is what we're going to do." And Boehner says, "Well, I don't know if anybody will go along with that." And then he turns right around and says, "Okay, we'll do what you want to do," or we pass things so we can find out what's in them. It's one of these two scenarios. So the idea of Obama being, I'm sure it's already being talked about within the circles of the UN. That, hey, this guy would be great for us, at an international level, because he can lie through his teeth with a straight face and people believe him, Yeah. So I think that's where it's headed. I don't think this is Obama's not one of these guys who's just going to finish out his term in 2016 and walk away quietly.
Well, you know what? I don't actually agree with you there. I really think he is going to walk away quietly. I think he's going to be just like the other presidents, and he's going to go out and make his fortune making speeches where he can. One of the things that I wanted to touch on today, and I did want to talk about Trump for just a moment. He's at the U.S.-Mexican border today, and this man, after he made this immigration statement and the fact that all the immigrants were rapists and murderers and thieves and all these things, he goes to the U.S.-Mexican border and he says that the Mexican people are going to love him now because he's going to stop sending jobs to China and jobs to Canada and jobs to Europe, and he's going to bring those jobs home, and it's the Mexicans that are going to have those jobs. What the hell is this guy talking about?
Well, he's actually true. He's actually right. If you look at the polls out there, the real polls that are being run out there, he's got a very, very, very large. He's carrying a lot of support amongst citizens, Hispanic citizens, because if you talk to real Hispanic citizens, people that have either been born and raised here and their parents came over here, went through the process, became legal. I've run into a lot of them out here in Orange County. They are very conservative, but it feeds into the larger picture. So you hit the nail on the head here, Bob. The media perpetrates this idea. They take an idea and they say, this is what we want out there. And so what they do is they start putting stuff out there. Some of it is things taken out of context. If you really read or listened to Donald Trump, the context of those statements he made about Mexico sending us up here, rapists and everything else, the total context of it was that there are people coming up here from Mexico that are not good. And he also mentioned that there are some that are good. So it's not like, but we only heard the part with the negative connotation on it. So
yeah.
These polls, I'm thinking of the poll I just heard the other day. I think it was Gallup or somebody came out, and they were polling Hispanics. He's got a very favorable rating amongst established Hispanic citizens of the United States, because they also believe that these people coming across the border illegally are giving them a bad name.
Well, John, let's hold that thought. John, let's hold that thought for a second. We've got to go on a commercial break. We'll be right back. We're talking to my good buddy John Matthews with the Conservative Syndicate, and you can listen to John every Monday through Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time, and go to his website at theconservativesyndicate.net to find the times, listen live, or listen to his archives. We'll be right back with John after these brief messages. Do not go away. You'll be sorry if you did, and I'll come looking for you if you do.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to my good buddy John Matthews with his Conservative Syndicate Corner. And John, when we got off, you were actually surprising me. I wasn't aware of the fact that Trump has actually got quite a good following of Hispanics. Why don't you've got the microphone. Why don't you continue on that conversation?
Well, it depends on what poll. You know, this is. Let me go step back just for a minute here. We have to look at the bigger narrative. The narrative is the issue. The narrative, whoever controls the narrative, sways public opinion. Hillary Clinton once said that she thought the most influential news network out today is Al Jazeera, and she says the reason being is because these people have learned how to influence people. She doesn't think the media is for the purpose of informing; it's for the purpose of influencing. This is propaganda, that kind of thing. And what you have here is a situation where the media decides, okay, this is the narrative that we want to put out there, and that is that the majority of Americans disagree with Donald Trump's statement about John McCain or Donald Trump's statement about immigrants. Okay, so that's the narrative. That's the objective. We've got to put this out there. So what they start doing is they poll the people. I'm still wondering who these people are. Do polls. I'm 61 years old. I have never been called and asked anything about any poll any time in my life.
You know
so
what?
I'm wondering, they must recycle these people. But my point being,
but I was going to also add to that. Other than when the general election is getting hot and heavy toward the end, once in a while I'll get a call. But I'll bet you I've only had maybe 3 calls in my lifetime for a political poll.
The only calls I ever get is the RNC wanting me to give them more money.
I get those envelopes every day.
Yeah, and I'm one of these few people. I actually write letters back. I write letters back and say, when you start doing something, come talk to me.
Yeah.
But here's the point being, getting back to the narrative. The idea is that we need to project this idea that the majority of people in the country agree with whatever narrative the media is trying to project. And so they slant their reporting that way. And they say, okay, we got a poll here that says Donald Trump is 6 out of 10 Hispanics don't like him, and they think he sucks. And then if you were to check those 6 out of 10 Hispanics, you find out that probably 7 of them are here illegally anyway, and the other ones, they're Democrats. You don't get the cross section of the Hispanic community, which, like I said, I live out here in Orange County. I deal with these people. I've been living here since 1959, and most people that have been here for a while, 2 or 3 generations down the line, they're just like regular Americans, just like regular black Americans are the same way. You get into the black community, your average black is not out there walking around with Black Lives Matter signs and wanting to burn everything down and tear down Confederate flags and kill Whitey and all this other stuff. They're people that just go about their daily life and do their thing. What you have is you have a minority of the country directing the narrative. It's like the gay community. Okay, 2% of our population is gay, and yet they have been able to control and dictate legislation and control the narrative. That if you have any opposition to homosexuality, no matter what faith it's based on, then you're a homophobic hater. And the majority of America will look at you that way. But that's not true. It's just that that's the narrative that's being put out there. Why? Because the media has no ethics. They don't have any agenda other than to project what they want. Because sensationalism drives the media, and that is where they get their advertisers. If you've got Anderson Cooper out there talking every single day and people paying attention to him, that's where your advertising dollars are going to go. So the hypocrisy of liberalism is just as capitalistic as the capitalism that they attack. So you've got to keep all this stuff in the big picture. And the idea here that average Hispanic Americans that are established in the United States and get it by the rules and follow the law will look at the situation with illegal immigrants and say, no, this is not a good thing that they're coming across here. I mean, these people are paying taxes like we are. Their taxes are being used to take care of people that are here illegally just like we are. Their children are being just as infected and affected in schools as ours are. So these are people that have become Americans. They're not Hispanic Americans. They're not Latin Americans. They're Americans. The same, like I said, same with the black community. They're not black Americans. They're not African Americans. They're Americans. And the majority of the country is still Americans. The problem is the majority of the country is so fed up with everything, they just don't say anything. So who carries the narrative? The squeaky wheel. The people that are out there bitching and moaning, groaning every single day. And they're the ones that are out there, and people see them and go, geez, oh man, Trump, he just says, yeah. Okay, Trump is a jerk. We know that. But the idea, I think, which is more comical, is the idea that nobody on the GOP side, none of these candidates are taking the opportunity to defend or to articulate their views on the very things that Trump attacked them on. So what do? Lindsey Graham makes a video about smashing an iPhone because Donald Trump gave his iPhone number out to the public. So rather than just dealing with the idea of, okay, as a candidate, this is my position on immigration, and this is what I think, is this guy spends an exorbitant amount of money making a 5-minute video showing it different ways to destroy a phone. Now, what does that do? It plays right into the narrative. A liberal will look at that and go, what an ass.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point here. So
You hit the nail on the head, because you know what Donald Trump is actually doing here, John. You hit the nail right on the head, because what Donald Trump is actually doing here is he's getting these guys to fight with him on his level where he wants them to be, instead of addressing the issues that he has raised. So Donald Trump is the only guy talking about the issues that have been raised, and he's got the other guys just snapping back and defending themselves. They're afraid of their own shadows.
Because politicians today do not know how to deal with anybody that is not a politician. See, Donald Trump is not a politician. He's a businessman with a lot of money, which allows him to have whatever attitude he wants.
Yeah.
And he can say anything he wants because nobody's going to really hurt him. You can, you ding his bank account. All right, so you go down from $9 billion to $8.5 billion. So what? He can still do whatever he wants. And the Republicans can't deal with it. They don't know how to deal with that. All of a sudden, well, he's brash and he's insulting. So what? If he's so bad, why aren't you telling us why you're so good?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, John. Most of America, whether they want to admit it or not, are finding that very refreshing that he's calling I was going to say calling a spade. Probably not the right term to use, but he's actually calling it the way he sees it, and we all feel the same doggone things. And you and I've talked about this before.
And you're right. And the observed part of it is that nobody in the GOP has picked up on this. They're not sitting there going, hey, wait a minute, he has tapped into something. Gee, maybe I should do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me take this. Okay, we got a crisis. Let's don't let this go to waste. Let's figure out how we can use it to articulate our message instead of what? Well, he called me names. Sticks and stones can break my bones. This guy, he may be all those things. But he's doing the one thing you're not doing.
Yeah.
He's talking about the issues the way that Americans talk about it.
And you know what? There's only two guys right now doing that, and that's Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders. Both of these guys have clued into the fact that, hey, you know what? We're gonna talk about issues. We're going to embarrass the hell out of everybody else. We're going to make them talk about these issues, or we're going to make them defend themselves. Both these guys have figured it out.
Oh, yeah, because neither one of them has anything to lose.
Yeah.
That's the point. Bernie Sanders is like 5 years away from an old folks' home if he lives that long. He's got nothing to lose. He's a bona fide communist socialist. He doesn't deny it. No. He gets out there and says, this is what we should do. And people are going, wow, somebody's actually got a point of view. And they don't back off, The honesty is great. Now, is it going to equate into leadership? Is it going to qualify them for position? No, but it doesn't matter. It's just we got a dialogue going on for a change,
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what people can't. The public knows it. The politicians don't.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. It's just the politicians are so out of touch with the people that have elected them. They don't even recognize that the people are screaming and yelling, and they're thinking it's all about Trump. It's not about Trump. Trump just has to be the vocal cord right now.
No, but you know what? Both of these guys have done is they've excited America because America likes the idea that we don't really have a couple of politicians up there. We got a couple of guys that are talking about issues and making the politicians play on their field with their rules. And for one time, I think we're going to probably have the most exciting primaries in general that we've ever had in my lifetime.
Well, if we go back to the founding of our country was not founded by politicians. Mm-hmm. It was founded by businessmen. It was founded by farmers. It was founded by normal people. And if you read some of the records of some of the debates that went on in the founding of this country, it pales in comparison to Donald Trump calling Lindsey Graham an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, these people, they got down when they debated with each other.
They actually, they actually had duels over the forming of this country.
People are like, okay, I don't like what you're saying. Let's go get a gun and we'll settle this.
Yeah.
I mean, today it's like, well, let's just be civil. There is no civility in politics, crying out loud.
No.
That's why it's politics.
The great Jesse Unruh from the state of California, he was Speaker of the House, and he was a Democrat, but he coined a phrase when he was Speaker of the House because he was just notorious. and about letting people wine them and dine them and do all those things in Sacramento before they had these spending limits put up there. And they'd ask him, how can you do this? How can you do this? And he was one of the most powerful men in California. And he says, if you can't drink their booze, eat their food, and screw their women, then you don't belong in politics.
Mm-hmm. Hey, the closest thing we've ever had, in my opinion, is a crossover between a private citizen and a bona fide politician would probably be Newt Gingrich.
Yeah.
And look at the heat this guy has taken over the course of his career. He knows how to play the politics, but he knows how to talk like a normal person. And he knows how to call things as they are, and he knows how to talk back to people that try to put him down. That guy, there's a lot of things bad about Newt Gingrich, but I've always admired his ability to get things done when he was in a position to do it, because he knew how to play both sides against the middle, and he was good at it, and he never denied that that's not what he was not doing.
Yeah.
He never tried to play it as something that it wasn't, and this is the way it is. This is how you win the game. Why is it that he was so effective during the years of
well, the contract, when he came out with that contract for America, I mean, that was just genius.
Yeah, and one of the original signers was none other than John Boehner.
Yeah.
Now, look at the difference of how they evolved. Newt Gingrich never stepped away from who he was. John Boehner, who knows who he is now?
Yeah. I'm not sure who he is or what he is. I'm not even sure if he knows whose side he's on.
Yeah, there's moments like this. I wish it was on Bill O'Reilly, because I would tell you that John Boehner is nothing more than a drunk.
Yeah.
This guy has outlived his usefulness. I think the guy stays drunk half the time. I don't even know if he knows what's going on half the time.
Yeah.
So if I was on Sean Hannity, and I'd be in the news tomorrow for saying that. But John Boehner is useless. He's a useless drunk, and it's like, why do we need the guy around anymore? Well, because nobody's got the gall to get rid of him.
Yeah, and why is that, for Pete's sake? You got 435 members of Congress. Why are they afraid of getting rid of him?
Well, because they're birds of a feather. See, we, the American people, have allowed this to evolve into the animal that it is. Trump is upsetting the balance. I am not a Trump fan. I do not think he is presidential material. I would never support him. In fact, if he gets the presidential nomination, I'll probably vote for the Democrat, because I feel at that point we're going down the toilet. We might as well go out in a blaze of glory. So, that I do not see him in any way, shape, or form as a presidential candidate. But I will never walk away. I will never play down the fact that this man has tapped into the anger. Bernie Sanders has tapped into the anger that is in this country that nobody wants to address, and they're willing to let you vent.
Yeah.
They're venting for you, and they're willing to let you vent, and that's what the America needs right now.
You're absolutely right. Now, unfortunately, John, we are out of time. I want you to talk about your show real quick and tell people how to get to listen to you.
Okay, you just find me. Just go to the conservativesyndicate.net, and you can pick up all of our shows there. Click on the website. If we're live, you'll pick us up live. If we're not, you'll pick up our latest archives. We have all the information bios on all of our panels, which Bob is one of our panel members. You can find out, read our blogs, whatever you want to know about the Conservative Syndicate. Go there, the conservativesyndicate.net, broadcast times, the whole 9 yards. Everything's there.
Hey, John, thank you. This was a great show. I always love it when you're on my show, and I always love it when I'm on yours. So, all I can say is thank you very much. But this was really a great show today, so I really appreciate it.
Okay, but be prepared next week, buddy. We're going after Iran.
All right, I'm with you. I'm with you all the way, buddy. Matter of fact, I'll press the button. Now, everybody else, don't go away. When we come back from these commercial moments, we're going to talk about the happy birthdays for today, the secret teachings for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:41 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 88 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what today is, right? Absolutely, July the 23rd, and it's somebody's birthday. And you know what? This fellow, we all know him. He was born in 1961. He's an American actor. He's done so many things I can't even begin to say, but happy birthday to Woody Harrelson. And here's one for you. Born in 1965, Slash, the American guitarist for Guns N' Roses. And born in 1968, an American basketball player, Gary Payton's birthday is today. Happy birthday, Gary. And you know what? Here's somebody that we've all heard of. She was born in 1973. She was a White House intern. And you know what? President Clinton did not have sex with that woman at all. Yeah, you couldn't have said it better. You know what? Let's talk about today in history. In 1903, the Ford Motor Company sells its first car. How great is that? And you know what? And it is great. We ought to give them a round of applause for it. Absolutely. You know why? Because Henry Ford, with that first car, created the middle class in America, and that today is trying to be salvaged. Now, here we are, 112 years later, and we're trying to salvage that middle class, and hopefully we'll do that with our next election. And here's somebody we all know. Vanessa Williams becomes the very first Miss America to resign when she surrenders from her crown after nude photos of her appeared in Penthouse magazine in 1984. Yep, it had happened. I know you're not happy with it, but boy, what a beautiful woman she was. And you know what, or is, I should say. In a 1995, Comet Hale-Bopp is discovered and becomes visible to the naked eye nearly a year later. Well, let's talk about our quote for today. It comes from Walter Lippmann. Walter says, "Where all think alike, no one thinks very much." Now, that's kind of profound. Think about it. That's actually pretty good if you think about it. How about this? You know what? It's time for our secret daily teachings for your life, and you've heard me talk about it all the time. This is really all about a positive mental attitude, and that's really all it's all about. You know, if you have a positive mental attitude, your life is going to be a good life. It'll be a rewarding life. It'll be fantastic, and everybody whose lives you touch will be better for it too. Today's teaching is this: you are now receiving the knowledge that will enable you to create the most magnificent version of you. The possibility that version of you already exists on the frequency of the most magnificent version of you. Decide what you want to be, do, and have. Think the thoughts of it. Emit the frequency, and your vision will become your life. I promise you guys, this stuff works. It really, really works. It's fantastic. Well, let's talk about that Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is know how to bridge cultural differences. Yeah. You know, when you do business with people from another culture, whether you're managing a global team or negotiating a contract, your success depends on your ability to bridge cultural differences. This means clearly understanding how your cultures differ. For example, assess whether you're working in an individual or a collective culture. Do your global colleagues identify themselves primarily as independent operators or as members of a larger group? Do people often celebrate individual achievements? Are there stars who have bigger offices and get more attention? Do people feel comfortable with open disagreement? Or, if so, that's an individualistic culture. You'll want to acknowledge people's quantifiable results. In primarily collective cultures, you'll find hidden influencers instead of obvious stars. People often eat lunch together and are uncomfortable disagreeing with each other. To adapt, focus on the team as a whole and speak to the group's achievements. That is got to be one of the most important messages that we've sent out. That is just phenomenal. All right, it is time for our interesting but useless facts. So let's get to them. Did you know that the richest country in the world, guess what? It's Switzerland. And the poorest? Mozambique. See, you thought the richest country in the world was going to be the United States, didn't you? Nope, not the case. Did you know that sheep outnumber humans in New Zealand 15-1? That's a lot of rack lamb, folks. I love rack lamb. Did you know that in Alaska it's illegal to look at a moose from a flying vehicle? You know, Joey was on, my grandson Joey was on the show yesterday, and he was astounded at some of these laws that are still on the books, that still exist. And I am too. I mean, really? In Alaska, it's illegal to look at a moose from a flying vehicle? Give me a break. How about this? Did you know that 20,252 is Smokey the Bear's own zip code? That's 20252. He's got his own zip code. And the average number of peanuts in a box of Cracker Jacks is 27. Can you imagine that they actually have it right down to how many peanuts go into that box? Here's one for you. Did you know that John Larroquette of Night Court and the John Larroquette Show was the narrator of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Give that a break. And, you know, midgets and dwarfs almost always have normal-sized children. That's interesting. And here's one. Gutzon Borglum, the sculptor of the 4 presidents on Mount Rushmore, died a few months before the project was actually completed. It took him 14 years to put those 4 presidents up there. Give that some thought, right? If they only served one term, that'd be 16 years. How about this? Florida has more tornadoes per square mile than any other state. That is a fact. And you know what? With that, let me tell you that when we come back from this break, we're going to be dealing with your emails. And the first email comes from Elise Burt from Roselle, Illinois. She's talking about home office deductions. And we'll be right back with our email questions today, right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The interview starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVEs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages to connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Dental Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transaction security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:52 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 88 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's time for our emails, and to answer those emails for you, we're coming down to the wire. I want to remind you that these are for entertainment purposes, and the information you send me most of the time is just a bit sketchy. So I'm doing the best job I can to answer these questions for you. But always, we recommend that you see a licensed professional, and they're going to interview you. They're going to draw out information from you so they can give you a good, comprehensive, complete answer. And you'll be glad you did because they give you peace of mind. They let you sleep at night. They're going to make sure that if somebody knocks on your door or rings your doorbell or sends you a certified letter, that you don't have to worry about it. You just have to contact them, because one of the requirements of their licensing is that they have errors and omissions insurance, which means if they make a mistake, you don't pay the piper, they do. Now, let's get right to it. First email is from Elise Burt from Roselle, Illinois, asking about a home office deduction, and says, if I convince my employer to let me work from home, will I be able to deduct a home office? Well, here's the thing, Elise. It's a promising idea, but home office deductions for employees are subject to restrictions. First, the office is deductible only as an employee business expense among your miscellaneous itemized deductions, the total of which is deductible only to the extent that it exceeds 2% of your adjusted gross income. And also, it's not enough for your employer to let you work at home. The law says that you must work at home for the convenience of the employer. This means that your employer must require you to work at home for its benefit. Now, here's a suggestion for you. Show your employer that it can save money by not providing an office to you, but rather to have it formally require you to work at home. That'll take care of your problem, Elise, and it'll be the best bet for you, and it'll also be good for your employer as well. My second email comes from Michael Castillo from Westfield, Massachusetts, asking about joint savings and probate. And he says, my mom wants to put her savings in a joint account with me so I can inherit them outside of probate. If we do this, will I owe tax on half the interest earned? All the money's hers. I won't spend any of it, and I'm in a much higher tax bracket than she is. Well, Michael, if your mother provides all of the money in the joint account, the IRS is going to consider all that money to be hers, and the interest on it will also be taxable to her. Use your mother's name, her Social Security number, and when setting up that account, they'll be used when issuing those 1099 forms that report the interest earned in the account to the IRS. Now, the interest will be reported to her, and you'll have no problem whatsoever. However, if you withdraw any of the funds that your mother puts into the account, she'll be deemed to have made a gift of those to you at that time. And so that then becomes yours, and you're going to pay the tax on that portion. So keep that in mind. And she may be subject to it, depending on how much, may be subject to a gift tax. Next email comes from Ivan Cho from Mishawaka, Indiana, asking about Social Security tax, and says, I just lost my job. Can I keep paying Social Security tax voluntarily while I'm unemployed to prevent my Social Security benefits from being reduced? Well, Evan, the answer to your question is no, you can't do that. Moreover, your Social Security benefits are not based on the amount of taxes you pay, but on the amount of your earnings, specifically your level of earnings in your 35 highest earning working years. So it's possible that your period of unemployment will not affect your future benefits at all. Now, to learn more about the Social Security benefits formula, get the free publication, Your Retirement Benefit, How It Is Figured, in the publications section of the Social Security Administration website at www.ssa.gov, or call them directly at 800-772-1213. Now, my last email comes from Dylan Culverson from Elrea, Ohio, asking about tuition deductions, and says, I'm a police officer. If I go to law school at night, can I deduct my tuition as a business expense since it helps me better apply the law? Well, Dylan, the answer to your question is no. Education generally is deductible if it improves your skills in your current line of work, but not if it qualifies you to enter into a new profession. Now, obtaining a law degree qualifies one to practice a new profession as a lawyer, so the cost of obtaining such a degree generally is not deductible as a business expense. But there are tax breaks for education. Law school studies may qualify you to claim the lifetime learning credit, the tuition and fees deduction, or student loan interest deduction, or any other breaks that might actually be there. And so, I can't totally say no. There are some things and some breaks that are there. And also, depending on your employer's requirements and what you're actually going to do, that education could possibly be deductible to you under some certain circumstances, but you need to talk to a licensed professional before you go to that route and find out all about it. As I keep saying here on the show, always contact a licensed professional before you do anything. They're not only going to protect you with their errors and omissions insurance, but they're going to give you a more comprehensive answer. And if you're trying to accomplish something, generally they can also find a way to get that done for you. And that's really what you want to do. They'll find the loophole that makes it available. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and on Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. On my next show, my expert contributor is going to be David Garrett on the law, and my special guest, it's going to be our own Sean LaFave talking healthcare on Geared for Wellness. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Today's show, as much as I enjoyed producing it for you, don't forget to join me again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. In the meantime, I want you to stay happy, I want you to stay safe, and I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Good night, everybody.